Okay, so we're starting with a Zendella, and we just drew with our pencil this wavy line here to do the string. We then divided it here, and then we drew this nice big spiral in this section. And then we drew this little ladybug right here, almost like the start of crescent moon. And now from this point right here, we're going to draw an arced shape like that. Think of the the pattern Shattuck. Paddock, that should be good. All right, and let's extend this crescent moon now. I'm going to just draw this line and extend that crescent moon into this corner thingy, majingy. And then we're going to aura that. It's just tricky to get it started, that's all. There's no right or wrong. However we do it, doesn't matter. Right? And then we just put in these stripes, these auras. And now we're going to start the next one in this little corner. So you can turn your tile a little bit. So in this corner here, we're just going to draw that arc and color it in. And let's take the tip here and draw an arc shape. Just stay in the moment. Don't worry about how we're going to continue. We're just getting this started, and then it'll get a lot easier. And then we're just going to aura this shape. Fill it up with auras, right? And then we're going to turn our tile, and again, we're going to start. Let's do the same thing. We have this little corner right here along the edge. Give it that little arc shape. And then right here, we can give it this other arc shape, and then we'll aura in this section. Nice and slow and relaxed. Staying in the present moment. Don't worry about what we're going to draw next. Just stay with me. And then we're going to turn that and do the same thing. Right in that corner. Color it in. And then kind of give it this arc shape. And then I'll do that again right here in that corner. And actually I'm going to go right here and just give it that arc shape so it can fill up that whole section. So we're just repeating what we just did over and over. Now remember, you're free to do whatever feels good to you if you want to change directions. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start to do these auras just to fill up this section. So now what I'm doing is that I'm starting the same way, but instead of putting that line in to fill up, which you can still do, I'm just going to start auraing this section with arc shapes until I feel like, probably till this is filled up or till I feel like starting a new one. Right, so we're going to do that. So we're doing the same thing, we're just not putting in that first arc shape above. We're just starting to just aura right where we are. And then when you feel like you've got enough, you just start another one. We're just going to keep doing this until we fill up this whole section of the rings. So if you have any little background over here, you can either put in more rings, or I am going to suggest something in the background. So don't worry about that. One other thing we're going to do with this pattern, I'll show you now. And of course, it's always optional, but I think this really makes the pattern. We're going to go back and we're going to put in orbs in a few of these. Now you can do these as you go, or once you're all done and then go back. So I'm going to just put it in every other ring, and just putting just 2 rings of orbs. And if you want, you can even color in those little backgrounds. So, and I'll be doing that on all of them. So I'll just pick another ring here, put in some orbs, just round circles. And maybe I'll put in another one, why not? Doesn't matter. All right, so have fun with that. I'm gonna be quiet now. Put your music on if you haven't yet, and just relax into each stroke, breathing in and out. And it really doesn't matter how you do this pattern. You do whatever feels good to you. Letting go of what it looks like. Oh, I thought I said I was going to be quiet. Okay, starting now. And let's slow it down. If you want, and if you're putting in these orbs, if you only want to put them in some of them, you don't have to put them in all of them. But you know that. You don't have to do anything. Whatever is your heart's desire, letting the pen be zen. Make sure each stroke has your undivided attention. So if you have any space in the background, again, you can either add more rings, just adding lines here, or what I'm going to suggest is put in the pattern eenies. And that is just drawing along here and giving it this kind of a teardrop shape. And you can, I like to go around the perimeter, but and then you can actually, let's see, yeah. And it's, Eenies and Flux are kind of similar. The difference is Eenies is just kind of the petals, and Flux, you're going to go on a vine, which we're going to do later anyways. So I'm just coming out and in, around and in. Oop. I'm going all along the perimeter, but you can put these in any way you like. And there might be another pattern you prefer to put in this background area. And as you know, you are always encouraged and welcome to do whatever you want. So you notice what I'm doing here. Now I can fill this in with orbs or more eenies, but I'm just going to kind of keep filling it in with eenies. Maybe we'll go in different directions. Just wherever there's a spot, I'm just going to kind of squeeze it in there. And then we can always shade in the background later as well. And what I did is I put a little line and then some dots. I'll do that again here for anybody who needs that. So I'm just going to trace along the edge, come up and in, and then I'm going to draw this little stem and then a few dots. So I think I'm going to put in some little orbs in the background here. So background of these eenies, just little tiny orbs. We're going to focus on this first curved line that we drew here. And we're going to draw kind of like Eenies, but it's going to be flux. And it's just going to be one-sided, right? So I'm going to start in the bottom here. And I'm just going to trace along that line, come out doing that same shape we just did, and then putting that line, that stem in a few dots. And I'm gonna, you don't have to go in the same direction, but I'm gonna keep going in the same direction for now. So I'm gonna trace along, come out and around, and then bring it in. You can see these two shapes are very different. Whatever happens, happens. And so we're gonna kind of come up, around, and in. So the pattern flux comes up, around, and in. And Rick and Maria both have very different flux. So this is the way I like to do it. There's another way, I think the way Rick does it is something like that, like something kind of like that. And then Maria's is like that. So it really doesn't matter what, that wasn't a very good example, but it gives you an idea. Because I didn't have it in front of me, so going by memory. But whatever shape you come up with is perfectly fine. So we're going to keep doing this on one side, the left side, all the way following the stem. And once you're done with that, you can just like kind of what I was showing with the eenies, we can do it with the flux where you can add a few more. Because we're going to be putting in a couple more patterns here, by the way. So we're just sticking along this area. So if I can come up here, maybe do put another little petal in there. You can have it floppy, kind of like what I showed earlier, kind of. That really looks like a golf ball or a golf club, doesn't it? Didn't mean to do that. So kind of like this. Yeah. And they can go different directions. You can change the directions. So what we're doing is we're just adding another layer, just one other layer here to put in some other petals, I'm going to call them. However you want it. And I don't even think about it. I just start to draw whatever my pen does, it does. And if you want, well, I hold off on that. And when you're done, I want you to aura the outline. So what I mean by that is we're just going to aura, giving this all an outline, an aura, tracing along these shapes, leaving a little space there. And then we're going to do another, not really an aura, but we're going to leave a little space. And we're going to draw another maybe wavy line, slightly wavy, because we're going to be tangling something in this section. So we're kind of just taking this wavy line, dividing what's left here. Now, you might not have much space left. We're all doing this differently, as you know. So if whatever you have, whatever you can do, you can do. And if you don't have a whole lot of space there, then that's okay. It's all good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to draw lines from this string to this border. So I'm just going to turn my tile to get a more comfortable position. And I'm just going to draw a straight line, and it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, as you know. And the next one isn't going to be too close. We're just going to go a little bit further. So we're going to fill this whole section up with these lines. And then we're going to do something else with it. So just focus on each stroke. Again, they're not too close to each other, but not too far apart either. And you can turn your tile at any time to get a comfortable position. And it doesn't have to be equally apart, as you can see. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just drawing lines from edge to edge, focusing on each stroke, breathing in and out. So the next step is we're going to turn this into piano keys. Not that it's supposed to look like anything, but that's kind of the name of the pattern. Now, so I'm just going to start randomly on one of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of very close now, give it an aura on either side and then cross it over. So think of a piano key. So we're just doing part of the line. And it doesn't matter what side you do this on. You could do it, whatever side you want. And so for this pattern, you just randomly will do some and then skip a few, then maybe do one and skip one. So right now I'm going to skip and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do 3 in a row. Maybe just 2 in a row. Yeah, I'll just do 2 for now. I could always change that later. So I'm going 2 in a row. So we're just ordering on either side of that line and then crossing over. Just doing part of that line. Think of a piano keyboard, but you can do something different with it because we're not supposed to focus on what it's supposed to look like. And then I'll maybe do another one here. So just randomly put in these black keys. Okay, so we're going to work on this section now, and we're going to put in some dots because we're going to put in the pattern cadent here. So we're just going to I'm going to put some dots right along the edge. Oh, didn't mean to do that. There we go. And so I'm going to put a dot and then leave some space, maybe like a half an inch or so. Put in another dot. Again, it really doesn't matter, just you don't want them too close together. And I'm going right along the edge. And then I'm going to put in another layer right below it, leaving a little bit of a space, maybe a quarter of an inch or a half an inch, lining that up. And then if you could fit another layer, go for it. And you might not be able to fit a whole layer on, which is okay. See, I don't have enough room over here, which is absolutely fine. And then I'm also going to go right to the edge if there's enough space, just like I did on the edge across. Just lining those up. And then we're going to put on these S shapes. So imagine just you kind of going around that dot and then coming around, drawing an S and landing on the next dot. And that's all we do. We just kind of go around, just a slight skinny S. And we do that connecting each column. And when we're done, we'll go the other way. And when I get there, I will let you know, because not everyone has done this pattern before, or maybe you forgot it, or maybe you know it, but you can do it blindfolded. And even if I didn't put a dot on the edge, I'm still kind of doing I'm still fitting a little S shape in there if I have room. And then when you're done, you could turn your tile. If you don't know this pattern, then watch me now. I'm turning the tile. And now we're going to do the same thing going the other way, but we really need to focus here. So I'm just going to start kind of like in the middle just so you can see better. So I'm going to take this and do the same thing. Doing the same thing, putting that S shape in. Now, if you want, oh, there's my kitty cat. You can, along the edges here, you can actually put one in along the edge too. That's totally up to you. I kind of like that look. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to do any of these patterns. However you do it is absolutely wonderful. Accepting your own true artistic abilities. So we're going to do the same thing in this section. Now, if you have a different pattern that you'd like to put in there, you can certainly go ahead and do that. I'm going to put in this pattern cadent in this section. So we're going to be in both sections, but you can do what you'd like. So I'm going to put in those dots again. I think I'm going a little bit bigger this time. Got some noisy birds out there. And my noisy cat. Sorry if you heard her meowing. And one last thing I'm going to suggest. Shh. Oh, she drives me crazy. Sorry, I need some ZenTangle to zen out here. My cat just loves to just meow at the wrong times. Okay, so for the next part, what I'm suggesting is orbs, kind of like what we did in here, some nice small orbs. You could also, if you'd like, color in some areas. Just like if you have a little area and you just want to color it in solid, you can do that. And maybe some of you have already started to do something with these eenies. There's so much you can do, but that's just one suggestion. And then maybe put in some orbs. They can be small, big, all different sizes, whatever feels good to you. So I know this tile today was a little ambitious because I gave you a lot to do on one tile in the amount of time we have today, but we're doing all right. And remember, the goal is not to always finish. The goal is to just slow down and relax. And if you're not done, you can always finish it later. I actually have been tangling on some strings, tiles that I attended a string class years ago, and I also have conducted string classes where, just the strings you put on the tiles. And I still have those strings, just been saving them, the tiles, regular ZenTangle tiles with strings. And I've started to actually tangle some of them in. And these were done in 2014, 15, and 16. So how many years ago was that? And now I'm just filling them in with patterns. So there's no rush. So what I'm doing is I'm going to color in some of these areas solid, and I'm putting in orbs in the background as well. Recording. Now we're going to do our shading. So get your pencil and let's start with Shattuck. This is the pattern Shattuck, and it's kind of a variation of Shattuck with the orbs and whatnot, but it's pretty good Shattuck. So what we're going to do here is, oh, I'm going to mute everybody first. Mute all. Sorry. So what I like to do is find wherever it's going underneath, get a little bit of shading there. So here it looks like this one's kind of going underneath, kind of where they're connected. So right along that area, just put a little bit of graphite. Oh, sorry, I should zoom in a little bit there. So right about there, and then taking that tortillon and blending that in. And then like here, this looks like it's going under a little bit. It's connecting. And you can do this randomly or on all of them. Everyone did this differently, so some have more than others. I think I'm just going to go randomly. I mean, I'm just going to do some of them, not all of them. Let me turn my light off so you can see that better. Another way to shade this, if you'd like, is you can actually color in one of these white rings and then blend it in. So what I did is I just colored it right in. I wonder if the light would be better for that. I'm not sure. So let's see. So here's one right here, and I'm just going to color that in with my pencil and then blending that in, smoothing it out. So one of the rings now, it has like a gray color. So I'm going to do that randomly as well. So I've got them where they're connected or looks like it's going underneath. Taking that tortillon and facing the edge with it, facing the line. And then taking a few of these white ones and coloring those in. You could also do a highlight. So if you can color in on either side, even a nice white highlight in the middle, that's always nice. So I'm doing that one here. And then you could take what's left on your tortillon and just continue shading in these areas. You don't have to always put your pencil down. And then what's left on my tortillon, I'm going to go over to these little eenies and just maybe just dab a little bit in the petals just to have a little bit of spot of graphite. And it doesn't even matter where. I also like to maybe dabble a little bit in the background where these orbs are and just like barely touching, just dabbling, kind of like cleaning off my tortillon just a little bit, just a few here and there. Okay, so now let's move on to flux, this one here. And what I'm going to do with this one is with the side of my tip, I'm going to give the S, the string that we did, I'm just going to go right over that string, favoring the left side. So really just kind of giving it this aura, but I'm going right over that line, favoring the left side. And if some goes on the other side, that doesn't matter. And then once we have that graphite down, I'm going to turn this so my tortillon's facing this stem, this line, and then in circular motion, just smoothing that out all along that vine. And then I like to go back and go over it again, maybe pushing it out just a little bit, giving it a lighter layer. And then if you go back over where we first put that graphite down, it might make it even a little bit more defined, a little bit darker. So sometimes I like to do that. And then what's left on the tortillon with these extra stems, I'm just going to put a little bit like kind of on the tops of these. Again, just using what's left of my tortillon. And then still what's left of my tortillon, I'm going to go over these orbs. So I'm just kind of brushing so that it goes on sporadically on these orbs. So taking what's left of my tortillon and just sporadically blending in those orbs, dabbling so that it's the shading is sporadic on those orbs. Again, it's hard for you to see. If I turn my light off, you can see it a little bit better. But then I can't see what I'm doing, but that's okay. But you can see how this is already giving it like a 3D look, which I love that. Lifts off the paper. So we're going to move on now to the piano keys. And I'm going to put graphite on either edge of these sections. So we'll, actually, no, I think I'm going to start here. We'll just like what we did on this side, but we're going to do it on this side now with this line. And we're going to just put some graphite down all along that edge, that wavy line we drew. And you can even come out a little bit further depending on how big your section is. I'm going back, giving it a little bit more graphite, and then blending that in. Circular motions or back and forth, the opposite direction you drew the pencil in. Meaning if you drew it horizontally, then you can go vertically, like across from it. And then you can maybe push that out a little bit. Give it another layer. So I think what I'm going to do with what's left of my tortillon, I'm going to outline the other edge. So right outside the top or the other end of this section. Just outlining it. Okay. So now for cadent, our final shading, we'll do the same thing on all of them. We'll just put a little bit of shading right along the right side of each one of these sections. So we're kind of giving these little S's an aura. And then taking your tortillon, facing those, the edges, and just blending it in, staying close to that side. I'm going a lot faster just because of the time. And you can, if you did this twice like I did, you can kind of check out the difference of what the shady bakes on your tile compared to the two before you do the other one. I always like to check that out. And it really doesn't matter what side you put that shading on. It really doesn't matter, whatever you want. Meaning like if you hold it this way, it's going to be down this way. If you hold it this way, it's this. So really, however you want to hold your tile. Really doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Now in a few minutes, we'll do our group photo. It will be posted on the Facebook page. You'll get an email from me with all the patterns, and the email will have all 4 recordings from this whole month. So you don't have to go digging out your other emails in case you want to view them. And remember, they're just for those who paid for the class. The links. When you view it on Facebook, on YouTube, it's unlisted, so it's only those who have the links that can see them for paid classes. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. So take another couple of minutes to finish up. And again, if you didn't finish, it's quite all right. And remember to sign your artwork wherever you like. I think I'm going to go right in one of these petals today because I just feel like a risk taker today. I'm just going to just draw my initials there. And then, of course, when you're done, turn it around. Look how different it looks. Appreciate what you've done today. And just relax for the rest of the day.